Hello everybody, and thank you for joining. In today's video, we're going to be walking through the installation process of a publisher node for Cisco Unified Communications Manager. This is going to be the first video in a series of videos that we do where we walk through the installation process, configuring, implementing, and integrating different applications with Cisco CUCM. Now let's get started and get the installation process going. Installation, we're going to verify the integrity of the actual media that we're going to be installing, and once this goes through, we can continue on with the installation of CUCM. Now the total installation of CUCM can take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, all depending on how large of a deployment that you have. And once we go ahead, we're going to go ahead and reboot and begin the actual setup process. So we're going to select Cisco Unified Communications Manager. Now some images do include Unity connection as well for voicemail. So depending on what your hardware configuration is and what OVA that you're selecting, you might see Cisco Unity connection in there as well, but this only includes CUCM. So we're verifying that it was version 14 that we want, and we're going to go ahead and proceed with the initial configuration. This isn't an upgrade patch. This is going to be a fresh new installation, and we're going to go ahead and continue. Select our time zone, which is going to be New York. So we're on the East Coast. Click OK. We're just going to leave the NIC speed at full duplex. No, we don't want to change the MTU size from the OS default. We don't want to enable DHCP on this. However, if you want your CUCM server to act as a DHCP server, you can enable that as well. Now, it's not recommended for large size deployments, usually anything under 1,000 total users. Go ahead and enter our network information. We actually do want to enable DNS. Now, for some time, it was always no, don't enable DNS, and when you got finished installing, you went through the enterprise parameters and you reconfigured everything to be IP addresses. However, now there's a lot of applications and a lot of integrations that do rely and do leverage DNS, so we are going to go ahead and enable that. This is going to be our administrator login information. Gotta make sure I enter the password right here. Okay. And this is just some basic information for your certificate. Is this server the first node in the cluster? In this case, yes, this will be the publisher node. So this is going to be the first node in the cluster. When we go through and do the subscriber, you'll see that we'll select no at that prompt. Here we're just going to enter some network time servers. We're going to use Google in this case. And then the security configuration. This is going to be for intra-cluster communication. So things like when you're setting up a subscriber node, it's going to use this password to communicate with the publisher. So definitely remember that password. It is important. We're going to disable Smart Call Home because this isn't a lab. And we're going to go ahead and create an application username and password. This is what we're going to use to log into the CUCM web interface. There we go. All the configuration information, usernames, passwords, network connectivity, IP address information. There really isn't a whole lot left to do. As I said before, this installation can take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour plus, all depending on the size of the actual deployment. So for now, I recommend just go and grab a cup of coffee, hang out, relax while this does its thing, and we will catch up once the installation process is finished. You'll be presented with the login for the CLI. Again, that login information is going to be what we configured earlier on in the process. So we'll go ahead and get logged in with our username and password. You'll notice that it does take a minute to get logged in, especially coming off a fresh installation, but after that, it's pretty spot on. You'll notice it'll present us with our hardware, and then we'll have the prompt where we can enter CLI commands. Now we do have the question mark available to us, so we can see all available commands that we have at our disposal. I'm not going to go into detail in this video on the CLI of CUCM. If that's something you want to see, let me know down in the comments below and we can definitely jump into that. But right now I'm going to drag in the web interface of CUCM. And to get to that web interface, what we're going to do is just browse to the actual IP address of CUCM that we configured earlier on in the configuration process. So when we click to initially log on, you'll see we're presented with a HTTP 404 error. Again, after the first install, it usually takes a few minutes to get all the web services up and running. That will allow us to log on to the administration page. But once it's up and running, we can go ahead and log in with the credentials that we configured earlier. And we're presented with a number of warnings and alerts and things of that nature. We're just going to ignore them for right now and double check that we can still log into our other pages like the OS administration page to get cluster information and whatnot. That pretty much wraps it up for the actual installation of CUCM. If you have any questions at all, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'm happy to help out and answer. Again, this is the first video in a series of videos. The next one we're going to do is a installation of a subscriber and what that looks like and how we connect that within the cluster. So if you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe for more videos because there's going to be a lot more to come. Look forward to it. Thank you, everybody.